Oh boy, it looks quiet, doesn't it? But there's so much going on. You guys ready? Want to go? Come on, Rex, let's go. Steve, hey, come on, it's time. The bell is rung. Ding, 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 let's go. You come on. Yeah, it's more like it. Hey, yes, I'm ready to go out the door. Look, by T-Rex, 1, 2, 3, and he's out the door. Next, thank you. We got this down or what? It's a 10 of 9, and it's 21 degrees, and we've got wind from the west that's not that strong. By the look of the horizon, we have a bit of an inversion here. Inversion, clear, calm, radiational cooling last night. Away from the breeze this morning, it is 6 below zero in Fitchburg, Massachusetts. And in Boston, it's 27 degrees, less cold at 21. And it was cold enough last night that we do have a little slushy ice down here. And the whole rock wall has been moved into the water. Well, actually, it was moved onto the land, but then the tide came in. So that's why we have slush water right now. And the mystery of the ladder has been solved. Talk about that in a few minutes. Big Tonka trucks down there, probably waiting for low tide to continue this project. So there's the slush. And we have a little bits of ice coming out of Rock Island Cove right there, little ice coming out. But it just has not been cold enough for ice in the salt water. Inland, where salt meets the brackish up there around Braintree, there's a lot of ice, as we've seen. And I'm going to just secure Steve. Steve, I shoveled you out a little spot in here. And talk about the weather. It's extreme weather. There's always extreme weather somewhere, but it's global right now. And we're going to talk about the storm that crossed the Atlantic Ocean. We're going to talk about what's happening on top of Mount Washington. We're going to talk about the 10-day forecast and how it's gone off the rails. But let us begin in County Cork, Ireland. Weather and radar. Ireland, UK, storm chaser. Managed to measure a wind gust to 118 miles per hour with that historic storm that left the Gulf of Mexico 72 hours ago and has since deepened from 1,018 millibars to 940 millibars. Let's do the math on that. 78 millibar drop in central pressure. County Cork there this morning on TikTok. I found the TikTok on, X. I don't go to TikTok, but somehow it shows up on X. What a storm. Now, I looked up the record for the lowest pressure of any storm. There were 2 of them in 1986, another in 1993 that got down to 916 millibars. That is the record low pressure in the North Atlantic. So this storm is extreme. It was extreme in the USA, now it's extreme in Europe, and it's created extreme temperature anomalies too. Let's look at the Northern Hemisphere record temperatures today. It is 70 degrees in Spain. It is 20 degrees in South Texas, record warm, record cold, and it is 34 degrees in Bettles, Alaska, record warm. So that's your high amplitude flow. Extreme ridging in Alaska, troughing in the United States, ridging in Europe, and it's along the battle between the frigid Arctic air and record warmth that is resulting in extreme weather. It's going to calm down a little bit. What's going on in New England right now? We talk about wind. Mount Washington, sustained about 70 miles an hour, 6 below zero, just a regular winter morning where the wind at 8:30, just before we came out, the wind on Mount Washington gusted to 84 miles per hour. Yet our friends in lower elevations in northern New England, Ryan on Route 100 in Weston, Vermont, says big fat snowflakes and very little wind. So it is hard. Your wind up at 6,000 feet is gusting past 80, and your wind in the valley is near zero. That is the nature of cold, heavy air in the morning. Now, during the afternoon, that mixes out, and you become probably less windy on the mountaintops and more windy down in the lower elevations where it is just an ideal ski day. Mount Mansfield to Jay, 4 inches of snow last night, up around 2,000 feet or higher. And they said it was coming straight down. Such a light, fluffy snow. I'll show you a highlight. This is Burnsy in northern Vermont in the back country. Dual cameras. I think Josh making the video. Burnsy catching the air with a poof of a landing. Rubbing it in. Yeah, I wish I was there. I might be able to join you guys within a couple of days. So our extreme pattern is going to mellow a bit, but it's a very complicated puzzle. This morning, look at the lower 48 surface analysis. Actually, this is this afternoon from the Weather Prediction Center. It shows a cold front from Maine to Mississippi, kind of high pressure in between. Then it shows a warm front from Missouri to Minnesota, and then another cold high to the north of another front that stretches from Nebraska to Oregon. So we've got almost like 6 different kinds of sectors of weather in the United States. But for most of us in the East, it's old, cold that is being refreshed this morning by a little bit of an upper level, almost wayward polar vortex that's generating that 80+ mile an hour on Mount Washington. Very unstable up in northern New England this morning. But we're going to default to the Euro, and it has its issues. Shall I show you one of the issues? Yesterday, when we left off on the 240-hour maps, we showed this one. So this was the forecast for 7 p.m. on Saturday, February 1st. And I said, wow, tomorrow we'll be able to see what's going to happen on Groundhog Day. Well, I want to show you the same output from the same model 24 hours later. This is now for 7, I'm going to stick with, here's 7 p.m. from yesterday's guidance, 1036 high over Canada and a low pressure system over Missouri. And now here it is from last night's run, 24 hours later. Instead of a 1036 high, we now have a 992 millibar low in the same place over Ontario, and rain and snow over New England. So that storm that was a cutoff low over Missouri opened up and has changed its mind and says it wants to bring rain here on February 1st. That is a wholesale change, and I wouldn't trust either of these. I do not trust either of those. The actual weather is going to be somewhere in between, and but one thing's for certain, it's going to get more active again after several days in a row. This snow has been now on the ground for it. This is the 7th day with this snow on the ground, and just before it came in last Saturday, it did all melt last Monday, so we've only had 1 day or 2 days so far 3 days so far this month with no snow on the ground. And I think we're going to end up with a net gain of snow, even in southern New England, in the next 2 weeks by Groundhog Day. All right, so here's the Shrewsbury Euro. I'm going to go with last night's run. And there's our steady as she goes, mid-20s for highs today. A little cooler tomorrow and Saturday before we start to warm it up a bit. Sunday back to freezing. And then Monday on Tuesday, it's going to get very windy around here. And there are going to be a couple of storms, one going north, another one going south, and some snow. I don't think it'll be any warm enough for rain at that point. And then it gets colder again next Tuesday, Wednesday. And then this is where the wheels really come off the wagon. Next to Friday, Saturday, a couple days ago, next Friday, Saturday, the Euro had us at about 0 degrees. Then it was in the teens. Then it was in the 20s. Now it's warm enough that it tries to make rain here next Saturday into Sunday. So it works in waves. You know, that was from a really cold to a really warm output. And now it's going to go the other way. It'll go back to a colder output is my experienced sleuth guess on how these weather things change. Just like the waves going through the flag there. Ripple up, ripple west, ripple east, blah, blah, blah. Let's go to the Euro now and try and suss it out, as they say. What's going to happen here? Pretty straightforward today and tomorrow. Well, actually, no, you can't really make it up, but there's a little 504 cutoff low in northern New England generating those instability snow showers, but those are going to dry up. So incidentally, today is day 24 in a row with New England snow, and 25 tomorrow. Yeah, there'll be some snow flurries around here. The boundary is lifting both north and south of New England, but there'll be some instability in the mountains, but it looks like a pretty good day. And then Sunday, it looks like it's going to get colder again, and now we're going to be watching another real kind of powerful storm coming out of Hudson Bay, Canada, with a blizzard in Ontario and Quebec, and that blizzard pushes south to Jay Peak, Vermont. Look at those isobars. All that blue is snow. The wind's going to be about 50 or 60 miles an hour. There is a blizzard at the Canadian border on Monday because of snow and blowing snow in the mountains. There'll be huge lift-hold issues, but then that presses south and decays. On Tuesday, the wind goes lighter, and by Wednesday morning, it's almost calm with another little weak low coming along the boundary going right over New York City on Wednesday with some snow mostly missing to the south. What? I have marginal confidence in that. And then here's where it really unravels. After that, you have what was going to be a cold, dry Saturday turning into a mixture of rain and snow next Saturday. And then Groundhog Day is day 10 now, 240 hours. And you have another low coming out of the Gulf of Mexico. Our southeastern United States ridge is back. There is plenty of cold across the northwest of the United States and Canada, and we're right on the boundary with another weather system right on our doorstep. So they're going to start coming one right after another again after a fairly quiet and very cold mid-January, where it has snowed at least a little bit every single day. All right, I think the weather's over. No, I'm changing. I want that gull in the sun. My landscape is changing. Oh, the gull's gone. Where's Steve? Steve, what do you see down there? Oh, the bird just flew out. So we've solved the mystery of the ladder. My neighbor Art says he saw it over there, and he thought it was his because he had a ladder down over his cliff yesterday too. So our ladder is safe and secure over there. So that mystery is solved. And the Enmore, after we're at 12 minutes, the Enmore is going to be some time lapse of them moving the rocks. And what a project. They made it look so easy when you get the right equipment. Yeah, and speaking of moving stuff, what is that? Look at that piece of lumber. Doug, what's that? Anyhow, we have a witness to history that we've interviewed. Doug Kent, who grew up here, remembers when those rocks went in before there was any revetment here. He remembers from about 60-something years ago when the rocks went in. And now what the town's doing is they're moving them out, and they're going to stabilize the banking and put those rocks back up, I believe. And that groin is going to stay. Look at this thing. So, yeah, more on our Weymouth boardwalk. It's not really going to be made out of boards. It's going to be made out of cement, I believe. Look at that piece of lumber. Oh, that's beautiful. Can you deliver that up here on my hill? I would love to have that piece of lumber. Maybe they're bringing that in to make their own tracks. Yeah, that's probably what's going on. That is a gorgeous thing, huh? Or maybe they're putting it in the rubbish pile. That rubbish pile right there being some old rusted out frame of an old dock that floated over here. Okay, how much do you think that piece of wood weighs? Oh, I don't know, 800 pounds. Boom. Do you hear that? It's solid. You could build something like a barn out of that. It could hold up your second floor. All right, so the Enmore yesterday, Doug Kent telling us the story as we look at the time lapse of the heavy equipment, big, huge Tonka trucks. I feel like a little kid watching all this go on, even though it is a little nerve-wracking, as is the weather forecast and the weather. Things can be scary, and no matter where you look, there's something beautiful and there's something scary. Hope you can focus on the positive. Talk to you tomorrow. What was that, T-Rex? You want to go in? Okay, going in. And more from yesterday.
The Cat 374F moving some boulders out of the way. Making another road below the high tide line. There's an old steel frame from a decrepit float, a dock right there. So that goes into the trash pile, not the water. Here goes the frame.
9:45 a.m. Thursday, January 23. Time for a time lapse. Steady, steady, Tim, steady.
kind of dismantling the juncture right there. Oh, tripod just fell apart. 43-minute time lapse. I don't know whether it's grease or coffee he's just got, but the weather changed dramatically. Sun's out. We've got warm fronts and cold fronts and cyclogenesis and frontogenesis and lots of sky waves and nothing dull. Huge flock of geese just went by. Can't get outside fast enough to hear them, but we can look at them. Come on over. Neat. Love it. I'm gonna go find you guys. It's just about lunchtime. Look at all I've done before lunch. Moved the wall about 50 feet north and continuing. Making a little time lapse here. Breeze picking up from the west. I hope my camera doesn't blow over. Over here a little bit. Straighten it out. Camera might blow over. As kind of scary as it is with our house shaking and everything, it's fascinating to see also. How many times do you step down those steps? Quite a few. So this is the swimming pool. We're crossing over the swimming pool now.
Well, it was like 35 feet long, 20 feet wide.
And you used to jump off the roof into the pool?
I never did. My brothers did. If you miss, you're in.
Hey, what's your name? Where you from?
Well, Don Kent. I'm from here,
Don Kent from where?
right here.
Here. Do you remember when this rock wall went in?
Yeah, I watched them do it a long time ago.
What year approximately?
1960. That's my
Let's do-
educated guess.
So 24 minus 60 is about 64 years ago. And I don't think you look that old. You weren't even alive back then.
Who, me?
All right, I know. You were just a little older than 10 years old. And so what's the feeling here now? It's kind of come full circle.
Yeah, it has. It's about time. Stuff is overgrown.
You kind of look toward me for a second.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know you don't like the camera. Your dad loved the camera, didn't he?
It's kind of cool to watch this. But, yeah, the town took it over because the bank in here was particularly behind this house.
If you could face me so I could hear that. How is the banking?
Oh, it would, after storms, Nori storms, you know, it would lose a couple of feet. That was happening quite a bit. So we lost about probably 6 or 8 feet of the backyard. And then, erosion. And so the town ended up taking over this property, eminent domain, up to basically the end lot line. So they owned the banking, and then they put in the seawall here, which did a great job for a long time. And then the jetty, and then the new beach.
What was over there? They call it the New Beach, George Lane Beach. What was over there before?
Like this.
It was like this, all the rocks?
Natural.
Rocks?
Not,
I mean, there's no sand down there.
no, that all was brought in.
That sand was hauled in.
Yep,
From Cape Cod? Did you steal it from Cape Cod?
probably. So it's interesting. And of course, I came home from the hospital to what I've always been told was the first house, which was not this one.
Oh, you mean when you were born, you mean?
Yeah.
It was
And
this land,
We got a rose and dirt road.
and this was the property, but they since rebuilt the house.
It looked like yours.
So that was your uncle's house next door?
Yeah.
That's the surf ski out the door Weathermore headquarters now.
There you go.
And so what does it feel like watching it kind of come full circle with the wall coming down now?
Well, they're going to probably build another version of the wall and then have the road and walkway on top of that. And, So it's all good. That'll protect the banking for decades. But it's kind of funny to see the old wall out on the beach. Now they had big boulders here. Some of them are just barely sticking out of the water at high tide. And they got rid of all those, but they broke them up and made them part of this wall. So pieces of them are out there. If you look closely, every once in a while you see something that doesn't look like granite. And that's one of the big rocks. It was like...
So this coast, it seems like it was kind of exceptionally rocky compared to many of the other coastlines around here. I guess if you go over to Cohasset, though, right, there's similar boulders still in the water over there.
Well, yeah, but, the beach was like this. With the 5 or 6 big boulders, and just, from 10 to 30 feet apart, at different sizes and shapes. So some were real big. And there was one all by itself down over there, and that single piece, we kind of have in between. That's the remains of that big one from over there. But
you remember that boulder from when you were a kid? That one boulder that's sitting there?
Yeah, it was much bigger. They broke them up, so it fit that type of size of rock to make the make the wall.
Did they break them with sledgehammers?
I don't remember. But
Dynamite?
It was. I don't remember the big bones, but I think they drilled holes, and then I don't know. They might have I don't know. They broke them apart. But it was very interesting. And then before that, my father and uncle, they had built a marina railway down here with 2 cement slabs. They just uncovered it last week. If you haven't seen it yet.
Oh, I think I can actually see the cement right down there, the footings, the base of the stairs to the right.
Correct.
And
so there was a big pad on the left, and then another one on the right, and railroad tracks, and a flatbed railroad car, and a winch, dead man locations, to tie chains onto, and you put the boat cradles onto wooden rollers, and just pull them with a winch, and just turn the boat around into their position. So the boats...
So they spent winters kind of up on the banking, out of the water?
Completely out of the water on a cement slab, the 2 boats. There was a powerboat and a sailboat, 36-foot sailboat, a wooden yawl, and then a 30-foot powerboat.
And I know your dad's got videos of all that. Would have to go through a lot of reels to find them, huh?
Well, I've seen them. They're deep in the reels.
Okay, let's go over to our birds and uncover those.
Okay.
So you think overall it's a positive development for the town and the neighborhood?
100%.
You like it?
Well, this is the view that was here when I grew up in the 50s and 60s. And then they built this wall they're taking apart. And then trees and brush and the invasive stuff, they call it, started all growing, and that gave you your bird sanctuary.
A lot of people are, I'm concerned about the birds. You think I should just relax about the birds? They'll be okay.
Buy a bunch of feeders.
So what's going to prevent all these invasives from coming back, do you think?
I don't know what they're putting in. Something that's supposedly non-invasive, but...
Yeah, like...
this was just like tall grass.
It was grass with no trees and stuff?
Little bush trees, which... some of which grew up here. Some have already fallen down. But it's very interesting. It's all very good because you have a view now, well, reminiscent of the old days, like when you drive up from the beach in Regatta. You're just driving up and you're just looking out there. Plus the shelf, it'll be a clear view now, as it should be.
Yeah, I guess, you had it when you were a kid, but I've only been here 6 years, and to have all the brush there, it felt like it was more of a private backyard. Now it feels very public back here. Yeah. I don't want any snob zoning or anything like that, but, I go out the door with the dog and the cat every morning, but we'll get used to it. Change is difficult, especially for old people like me.
I think it's a good change.
Good. Thanks, Doug, for
for the Enlightenment and the history lesson.
Okay.
Look at the waves on the beach down there with the round, the ice and the sand and the ice. Everything comes in
The
waves.
different levels of the high tide show up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're getting in between moons right now, so it's a lower tide and well, the high tide's lower and the lower tide's higher between moons.
So they had the Marine Railway that went out well beyond those rocks. And, you know, it'd be one of these splash launching kind of things. They'd have the boat on the railroad car and the flatbed. And you just they took the brake off the winch and down it went.
Oh, it must have been some fun to watch, huh?
It was very cool.
Every like April 20th or something like that.
Well, not that early.
May.
But you know.
Right, May.
But that only lasted probably 2 or 3 years, because that's when all this occurred. So they bought, town took over the property and then built this.
Do you recall if that was contentious or not when the town took it over?
I think some people were unhappy to lose the land down to, I think it was low water. And back in those days, you could do things a lot easier around the water. So it was quite a sight to see. And then they put, you've probably seen the plastic hose. It still shows up at low tide. There's a piece sticking up. They ran hose from the house down the hill. And it was kind of doomed to begin with, because the boats are on moorings and they're always spinning around. And,
They were going to try and have fresh water?
Yeah. But the only way you can really have done it the right way is have a little float. And that could be stabilized more than a boat. And but it was pretty cool. I think the water lasted for a summer, but it became untenable.
Roger and Don were industrious.
They were. And you should have seen the cement truck right where Jan's car's sitting.
The orange Jeep up there.
Big Boston sand and gravel or whoever, a big truck. And they built a wooden chute from where the wall is all the way down to the slabs. That's how they get all that concrete down there. And that was a trip.
That is so cool. Yep. Thanks for being the town historian here. All right. Now we got to go find those old movies. And this was this house over here. What was this property?
That was my grandmother's, Don and Roger's father, mother.
Mother.
And so these 3 lots were bought. So this, actually it's 4 lots. But all this property on these 3 houses, each lot is like $850, something like that.
Oh boy.
1949.
That's the one we're on, huh? We paid more than that.
Yeah. But anyway, the old backyard here came out from the, this is an extension of these windows, and you see where the slider is, and that inside wall, that was the basic back of the house, and about where the air conditioning units are. So it was grass between the house to there, and then it sloped down, and they had a little retaining wall, and a lower flat yard at the same level as theirs, and a fence. And then the pool is the other side of that, over on that. Sort of, the beginning of the pool is about where that porch starts out, give or take.
And that pool's still under there, huh?
It's down there.
Schlitz.
Still had the Schlitz sign on the bottom.
We gotta find some of those old movies. I know I've seen some
That
of
was in
them.
the days of the Budweiser commercial on TV.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, look at that, wow. And then, that's way too hard to do. You know, because it was like the lead,
Yeah.
all the intricacy. Well, Schlitz. Well, that's one of the brands of choice, and that's easy to do.
Who painted it?
Right?
You painted it. That's cool.
My father shook his head when I come up with the idea. Kids.
My father drank Schlitz, so I think it was the first
Me
sip
too.
of beer I ever had in my life.
So,
Kelly brothers and the Kent brothers, kind of similar.
but one of my uncle's friends had a sign company in Clinton, Mod Knot Sign Company. And actually, he's the one who would help get the mast from behind the house for Rogers sailboat. It was about 55 feet long.
Wow.
And like 8 adults had to carry it. It was on a rack. And then carried around the house up the side yard and up to the front yard with a truck there lifted up onto the truck. But as you know, he built that mast in your basement.
So he built a 55-foot mast in the basement of our place over there.
Hollow circus spruce mast.
Cool.
And he built his own sails. That was pretty cool. And he bought it. The hull and cabin were built, hull and deck cabin, and he finished off the interior. It was right between the two houses where cabins.
Neat.
And that was a trip watching that get in and out of that driveway. It was wild.
It's hard to get a car in and out of that driveway.
So, there's some history here. It was kind of fun. But being 10 years old, I'd be, you're starting to know where you are. And,
First time in a long time.
oh,
We've got a vehicle on the new road. No ladder in the back of that thing, is there? I think Blue Jeep Man's probably the foreman. One of them, anyway. Look at that go. This is going to be tough to get used to. I wonder how long it's going to take to complete.
say 2 years. I'm not going to work in the summertime, they said. All right, leave this.
Yep. All right, that's
Pretty
a wrap.
wild.
And more and more and more. Just never ends. Time lapse.
That's going to be interesting to watch for a while when the wind pipes up from the northeast.
Yeah, go swimming down there.
Breakwater in front of the breakwater.
Could probably go down there and get some oysters right now. Get that gull. Any oysters down there? All right, time lapse on all the other time lapses that I've shown while we were talking. This would be the time lapse of the whole day. Watching those boulders go out. Moved like little pebbles by that Cat 374F monster excavator.
Big Mo.
Thanks for watching. Talk to you tomorrow. Are you standing over the Schlitz sign right now? Yeah, I knew there were more. They're all over the place. You guys go find a golf course to poop on, okay?